Yes.
Boleh.
Do you have my own? Yeah.
Ini my the look of the seminar. It's your handwriting, you should be a doctor. Have you said it? Where do you take it from?
I
just read this now.
Me, like a best is so because I'm going to see for the forms. Somewhere that day.
we just get we all just get from
The rubric yang mana?
We will do that they need to provide the
So messed up.
it's not on you lah, it's not on you, it's on the management of
here for point.
I don't know what's doing right now. I'm not sure whether this one or this one. I don't know. Sekarang ni kalau ikut sama je. If this one, then this one. Anyone has any extra pen? Sorry. It's okay, sir.
Assalamualaikum, salam bersama-sama, salam aktif Pendidikan Pendidikan Guru Tarikh. Welcome to Tesl with the respectful lecturers and the gifted presenters. Before we begin the session,
Can you stand up? You are SMC, you should stand up. That's how you do it, yeah?
Before we begin the session, allow me to first introduce our distinguished judges. Our first assessor is the esteemed Ms. Nurul Adhika binti Muhammad Hari, and our second assessor is the Honorable Ms. Nur Hayati binti Muhammad Islam. We will commence the first section by inviting our first presenter, Muhammad Farhan bin Muhammad Nasir, who will present his research on investigating the relation of RPG video game, Mobile Legends Pendidikan towards non-TESOL students of vocabulary level in IPG and KDRI June 21-25 intake. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I'm with the panels, Ms. Nur Adhika Muhammad and Mr. Muhammad Yusuf. Today, I, Muhammad Farhan bin Muhammad Nasir, the supervisor of the session until now, have conducted a research which is investigating the relation of RPG video game Mobile Legends towards non-TESOL students' vocabulary level in IPG and KDRI June 2025. So before we move on, let us get a brief understanding of what is RPG. RPG is a role-playing game, meaning that whenever you role-play as a character in that game can be considered to be in the genre of RPG. And Mobile Legends is one of them. And non-TESOL students, self-explanatory. The students who are not taking TESOL as their study. So, IBM, JBI, Institute of Technical Malaysia, Campus PISMP. So, without further ado, let us get into the background. Alright, so why did I conduct this research? First and foremost, it is important for students to have a wide range of vocabulary level. And this is not just my statement, this is a statement from Ambilan in 2022, where he stated that the importance of vocabulary for non-tertiary students, which includes academic success and future career opportunities. He explains that there is a need for them to have a wide range of vocabulary level. However, the issue comes when a study by Noor et al. In 2018 stated that undergraduates have low vocabulary range. Undergraduates in Malaysia, they have low vocabulary range. Now, actually, excuse me for a moment. All right. Noor et al. In 2018 reported that most Malaysian undergraduates have weak receptive vocabulary knowledge, with 57% not mastering the 2,000 word level, 83% not mastering the 3,000 word level, 93% not mastering the 5,000 word level. Now, what am I talking about the word levels? What are the word levels? Basically, it was research conducted by Lawford and Nation back in 1999. Where they conducted a test to test students' vocabulary range, and this test has around, let's say, the higher the level, the lower the frequency of vocabulary used. Meaning, when level 1000, it means that it is a high frequency vocabulary which you need in your daily life. So when the level goes higher, it gets harder for students to answer because they are not commonly use vocabulary in their lives. So that is the issue. Now, BIMA in 2023 stated the potential of RPG games as tools for learning. Now, in the digital era of today, gamification of things is everywhere. Every classroom is trying to gamify everything, but not all games are suitable to be implemented in teaching interventions. So, that is the background. Let us move on to my problem statement. The first problem, as we mentioned earlier, undergraduates lackluster vocabulary level. Just now, as Noor et al., this is another study by Hardy et al. In 2015, where he stated undergraduates struggle with vocabulary affecting academic performances. Hardy was finding showed that undergraduates only have 2,000 word level vocabulary insufficient for academic reading. The next problem statement is certain games are not educationally driven. Games are integrated in learning, but not all are equally effective. And this has been discussed in multiple research, such as Martinez et al. 2022 and Lai and Chen 2023. Those are the problem statements. Now, we move on to my research objectives. None other than to determine whether Mobile Legends efficiently improves the vocabulary level of non-passive people. And the second objective is to evaluate the Mobile Legends potential as vocabulary acquisition intervention for non-passive students. So, is it really suitable to be used? That is the second objective. So, these are the research questions. Basically, the question of the research objective. And the significance of the study as for the stakeholders, for educators, it provides insight into alternative vocabulary learning tools. And for non-Tesl teacher training, it may support more engaging methods for language acquisition in non-traditional settings. IBG Malaysia gain insights on effects on mobile learning and students' vocabulary level. Now, these are my past research. There are 4. For the general side, what I mean by general is that it focuses on the effects of game towards vocabulary level. Some use RPG games, some use video games only. For example, demonstrated that online RPGs like Oz High enhance vocabulary acquisition in adolescents through massive gameplay. This was Lin and Gao 2021, where they conducted a quasi-experimental in China using Oz High. Oz High is a game specified in the Chinese region itself. Yeah, those are the past researchers that, the past researchers conclude that games significantly can aid vocabulary retention. So, moving on to the other three past research that I've used in my thesis is the past research related to Mobile Legends. The three of them were conducted in Indonesia, and basically they found that Mobile Legends did improve vocabulary among tertiary students. Those are past research. Now, for an action research, I prepared a research focus. The research focus is enhancing the vocabulary level of non-Tesl students of IBDM KDRI June 2025 intake through the use of RPG Mobile Legends. Now, this will be determined by the usage of pre-test and post-test. For the second research focus is determining if RPG games such as Mobile Legends, the game that I use, is the suitable intervention in classroom use using differentiated strategies. So basically what we learned is differentiated strategies is for teachers or educators when they want to implement something in the classroom, they need to ensure that it caters to students weak, intermediate, and advanced. There are three levels of students. So does Mobile Legends cater to these three types of students? Now, the participants of this study, targeted populations are 182 non-Tesl students via SMP June 2021-25 intake at IPG KDRI, and the sample is 3 participants, where I use purposive sampling for me to determine who am I going to choose. And for my purposive sampling, I ensure that they have at least B in the SPM and they have not yet played the game. And I conducted a mini interview before I chose my participants to ensure that they met the criteria. And of course, if they are willing to be with me for 3 weeks of my intervention. Now, for the instruments, I used pre-intervention and post-intervention tasks that I conducted based off lawful animations, which was the initial test that was used by Harji and also Noor et al. Previously I mentioned. Now, the second is semi-structured review and observation chart. The intervention is the RPG video game intervention, Mobile Legends itself. For the research procedure, well, of course, before we can proceed. After getting the instrument validated, I conducted the pre-test right after, not really right after, the day after. Because after the instrument validation, I went to meet the pilot test, and then after the pilot test is okay, only I proceeded with the test the day after. And we proceeded with game-based intervention and observation for 3 weeks. Now, after 3 weeks of intervention of game Mobile Legends, we did post-test and interview. And afterwards, finally, report writing. And these are the data collection procedure. This is the data analysis procedure. The data analysis procedure, first and foremost, I use document analysis for pre-test, pre-intervention, and post-intervention, thematic analysis of semi-structured interview and observation, and triangulation of all available data. This is the framework that I've used for my thematic analysis, which is Brown and Clark. Now, the part where it's exciting. Is it actually helping? Is it actually improving? Let us focus to the data findings. The data shows that all participants should improve vocabulary post-intervention. Notable engagement and enjoyment, this was the part of the interview, that's fine. As you can see from the data itself, you can see the percentage, the increased percentage of students, 20, 13, and 15 within just 3 weeks of intervention. And however, though what we can see from the data itself, since the second objective is to see whether it is differentiated strategies friendly, separated it into the levels, and it shows that level 8,000 vocabulary did not improve significantly. Alright, that is the pre and post test. Now this is the generated theme from the interview. The generated themes is the participants constantly stated that it is a highly engaging game. It is a highly engaging game where they need to, and where they don't need, but they often be outside of intervention time. Next is collaborative learning. They state that by playing mobile legends, it promotes collaborative learning where students can talk with each other, talk to each other to gain the new vocabulary. Now, on to the discussion. Mobile legends can improve students' vocabulary level. That answers the first question. And participants learn domain-specific vocabulary. From the interview, you can see that social interaction and encourage collaborative learning. So this solidifies my research theory. One of the theories I've used in my research, which is Russia's theory of factor filter. Now, factor filter says that when the filter goes low, input starts getting easier. So they stated that structure is good, the game is engaging, so they have fun. And when they have fun, they can improve the vocabulary. This proves the theory itself. Next is mobile legends is not suitable to be primary intervention in improving vocabulary because it does not improve students' level 8,000 vocabulary significantly. Now, to conclude, RPG games can aid vocabulary learning, especially for high frequency vocabulary. But there are limitations for advanced vocabulary retention, or how you say low frequency vocabulary. These are my recommendation and extend intervention duration for long-term retention. This is for to get a deeper understanding. Next is video research sample that includes Tesl students. So maybe we can do it for the experimental to just differentiate the two data from Tesl students and non-Tesl students. Next, the research is limited to vocabulary only. It can be expanded to other languages still. So these are the implications, which is similar with the significance of research. And with that, thank you. I open the room for a Q&A session.
Okay, well done, Farhan. What is it good now? How are you doing now after the 20 minutes of presentation? How many minutes? 20, right?
So,
Right, okay, first of all, congratulations for coming to this one. Okay, one thing I just want to ask you that, okay, can you please explain to me a little bit of your methodology? Because I haven't seen that, I'm not sure which part will be explaining your methodology. Slide, your slide. Yes, research method.
excuse me. I'm sorry. Based on the findings that I've received, there were no methodology, but I will explain.
Yeah, you just explain.
The methodology is simple. First and foremost, I use the action research to base of Kurt Lewin's action research model of planning, action, observation, and reflection. So based on that, we can understand that first of all, I plan. What am I supposed to do? What do I want to focus on? So that is the planning part and taking action. Before I take action, of course, I need to validate my data, not validate my data, validate the instruments so that it can be used. And when we be sure that I can use them, use for instrument,
What we are trying to ask was, what is the research design
research
for
design.
your
For
study?
according to my understanding,
Okay, you are doing
action research,
qualitative,
Action research.
when
qualitative.
because in the appendix that was given by Dr. J states that memang ada dalam kurungan action research, research focus.
No, I mean, what is your design? Design first.
The big I,
The
you have
design,
to
yeah.
like quantitative,
Oh,
qualitative,
Mixed
that's one.
method. I use
Mixed method.
It's quality.
Okay.
Quality is the pre-test and post-test, and quality is the interview and observation.
That's
And
the
then I
thing.
do the triangulation of those.
I want to see that.
Oh.
You can tell, yeah, if you put that, that's it here. Okay, so you are doing mixed method.
Yeah.
Alright, that's what I was like talking just
Should you
now.
put anywhere mixed method?
Yeah, put
No,
that
I
somewhere.
didn't put the word mixed method.
Yeah, put that. That will be very important during your Viva.
It should be the first thing.
Yeah, the first thing. So it will actually help or guide the examiners to understand your presentation or your research work.
And your intention.
No worries. Okay, so you can put that first. Okay, and the second one, I would like to see where is the conceptual framework of yeah. No, it's not in the. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I was.
Because but then to better your later lah, and to better, even though it's not there, usually during the presentation we have the conceptual framework, but it's okay. But I just want to ask you, okay, just now, what would be the theory used in your research?
Is there a use I mentioned precious theory of factor total and non-person theory of power dynamics.
Alright, okay, good. Okay, so when you do mixed method, okay, so the intervention would be the
The intervention will be 2 weeks of playing the game itself,
okay.
1 hour for 5 days a week.
Alright, okay, so the quantity, the pre-test and post-test, okay, and then the quantity will be the semi-structured interview,
Yes.
observation chart, and document analysis, alright? Okay, so yeah, you know, you know, it makes sense now. Okay, that is the part which most that the examiner will, you know, look at first your method, and then they will understand. Now, because in your topic, investigating, okay, the first thought that came up to my mind would be, okay, this is qualitative, right? But then later I saw the pre-test and post-test, and then I was like, should be mixed method, but I couldn't find where is the, you know, the magic word, mixed method, right? Okay. All right. Okay. I want to ask one more question, but can you please ask questions first? I just want to, just now I was like trying to clarify, you know,
Alright, good job, my friend. Number 3, I know RQ2. So the RQ2 is to ask is mobile legend a suitable intervention for vocabulary acquisition, right?
Yes.
So this is to all as well. So once you, even if you want, when you want to do your conclusion or your recommendation, first you have to tag with exactly the same statement. So if I were to ask you, is it a suitable intervention for vocabulary acquisition?
It is not suitable.
It is not. So can you go back to discussion? So when you write down there, the word, there is one word extra that you've given here in the slide. Oh, that one. It is not suitable to be a primary intervention. Is the word primary keluar in the beginning?
No.
So it should be, it is suitable, but not as a primary intervention. Because when you look at the data, it can, even though it does not, because as long as it's improving, it can be an intervention, but not the primary one. So clarify that, because in your RQ, there's no word primary. If you put in the word primary in your RQ, then you can use this. Again, 1-to-1 answer feedback. So in your thesis, maybe you can clarify what it is. Okay? That would be my
3 minutes. You want this is why, you know,
Is
Help you lah. I just want to help you with the from my limited knowledge, right? Okay, so talking again, go to your past research. Alright. It's okay. Sharing ideas and knowledge, right? Okay, so just okay, looking at this research, okay. As you can say that improve. Okay, first one improve. Second one.
Yes, it helped them.
It helped them. Okay, third one also it helps them. Okay, so when we talk about doing a research, we want to find issues. What's wrong? What's the problem? Okay, so why bother to do this research? If you can see that all of those researchers before, they have actually get the solution already. Okay. Right, so what you can do here in your thesis, you can talk about okay, you have the point there where you use non-Tesl student. Okay, maybe we haven't actually explored that part. So it can help you. Because kalau tengok di sini from this alone, I can say that why want to do this research if you solve the problem already? Because when you want to do research, it is something that is still ongoing. Okay, still have problem related to the issue, and that's it. Yeah, okay.
my thoughts.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I did this person answered the first RQ, but I didn't answer the second RQ then, which is it suitable to be an intervention? But that is just my understanding. But you are right also, I should put more on this.
You can okay, sorry for that. Okay, but then you can, I think maybe instead of just like giving all good, taking all those successful
With the
stories inside,
issues and
find more
problems.
issues and problems that haven't been solved. Then your research can be relevant. Like that.
Or maybe if I need to add, because everything is positive and betul memang if you look at the majority of the literature saying that games always help. What you can do is you choose the element, which one would be the highest, the best element that actually promoting the success of using this. And I believe that it is not really improving because this is not Tesl. Let's say you're changing the respondent to Tesl student or language learners. Maybe it's actually it will be different result, right? It will yield different results. But it's a good field. It's a good perspective.
One last question. Why did you provide it?
Why did I choose mobile legends? Because according to statistics, it is a very famous game, especially in Southeast Asia. There's around accumulated of 5 billion downloads. Again, meaning repetitively downloaded. It was downloaded for 5 billion times. So it's a famous game.
Okay, thank you. Because I just want to ask you whether you can come up with the data because you cannot assume.
Especially some very UK ML lot.
Yeah, you cannot just say, even though we know that people play, when we talk about presenting or doing the Viva, you have to come up with data, pick up as an argument. That's it. Okay, thank you. Well done. Thank you so much. Good start here.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Muhammad Farhan, for the insightful presentation. Next, we have Najwa Adibal binti Isa, who will present her research on the effectiveness of using English films to improve vocabulary acquisition among teachers' trainings. Please welcome.
Please give us a few more minutes and extend the everything off. Around 2 or 3 minutes for the panel to give marks before you call it. You can call, but then let's finish. Okay? Hang on, I think I'm not sure. Give us a moment. I also like if I don't know.
Alhamdulillah settle.
Sorry, I need to go and print the report. So
Okay. Okay. Ah.
This they notice. Posing sama, posing sama. Main.
Kita akan boleh juga sama.
Ada dah. Tapi ada dah tadi.
That's one also okay. Yeah. The same is it? The same setting? Yes.
I change a bit. Just before I use movie and on English accent, right? And now still on speaking skills, but change it to radio, English radio station.
You get exam mana? Kelas apa? Daripada bilik mana? Oh, JBI. JBI. Oh, tak ni. Oh, ya, ya. I didn't nak kerja. Okay lah, boleh. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon, respected listeners and audience. My name is Najwa Iba Bukisa and I'm from Tesl 2, August 2020. Today I am honored to present my research titled The Effectiveness of Using English Verbs to Improve Vocabulary Acquisition Among Researchers. So this presentation will walk you through the key aspects of my research and findings. To start, it is essential to understand why vocabulary plays a crucial role in language acquisition. As research by Pascal et al. In 2022 highlights, vocabulary supports all four essential language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Without an adequate vocabulary base, learners struggle to communicate effectively and comprehend language in different contexts. Moving on. According to Hot in 2020, English films provide rich contextual language input with idiomatic expressions and cultural nuances.
Finally, the study acknowledges the need for research to address the gap in the Tesl for focus on Tesl teacher trainings. So this sets the stage for exploring the potential of English fields as a dynamic and engaging tool for vocabulary acquisition in Tesl training. Now turning to problem this research address. While there are studies on general language learners, there is a limited focus on Tesl teacher training, specifically regarding the use of English films as a tool for vocabulary acquisition. So this implies a lack of understanding of how this specific group can benefit from this learning resource. Next, existing research explores the use of films in general language learning context. However, there is a lack of targeted studies for vocabulary acquisition in Tesl training. So, this suggests a need for more focused research on or to understand how the effectiveness of films for vocabulary development in this particular training setting. The purpose of my study is clear: to examine the effectiveness of English films in enhancing vocabulary acquisition for teacher training. By doing so, I aim to identify the most preferred English movie genres, the perceived benefits from the Chinese perspectives, and determine if there are any significant differences between different training groups, that is Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, in using or engaging with movie-based learning. Now let me outline the research objectives. My RO1 is to find out the preferred English movie genres that could enhance vocabulary acquisition among ESL teacher trainees. RO2 to assess the perceived benefits of using English movies as a pedagogical tool for vocabulary acquisition among teacher trainees. And finally, RO3 to determine the relationship between ESL teacher trainees, that is Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, using movies to enhance vocabulary acquisition. Now, to align with these objectives, my research addresses three main research questions. RQ1, what are the preferred English movie genres that could enhance vocabulary acquisition among ESL teacher trainees? RQ2, what are the perceived benefits of using English movies as a pedagogical tool for vocabulary acquisition among teacher trainees? RQ3, is there any relationship between ESL teacher trainees, that is Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, using movies to enhance vocabulary acquisition? Now, why is this research significant? First and foremost, it benefits Tesl teacher trainees by providing them with an engaging way to expand their vocabulary. This in turn can enhance their teaching capabilities. For Tesl lecturers, the findings offer valuable insights on how to incorporate multimedia resources more effectively into their methods. Lastly, I think the major can leverage this research to modernize their curriculum and keep it aligned with other teaching practices. So to build the foundation for my study, I reviewed past research. So these studies indicated that while the use of English films shows promise, further empirical investigation specific to Tesl teacher trainees was necessary. So my study used a quantitative approach with an online survey to collect data from 58 Tesl trainees at IPG PRI. This approach allowed me to collect data or gather structured individual data on genre preferences, perceived benefits, and group differences. The focus was on descriptive and inferential analysis to provide comprehensive insights into the trainees' perspectives. Now, moving on to population and sample. The population of this study consisted of the PISMP Tesl August 2021, July 2025 intake at IUGM PDI. The final sample consisted of 54 respondents, which was sufficient for statistical analysis.
Additionally, a pilot study was conducted with 32 participants at other IUTM campus to validate the instrument and ensure its reliability. In determining the appropriate sample size, this study referred to strategy and Morgan 1970 paper, which recommends a sample for 52 form of a population of 60. So given that the total population of the study was 54, the response of 54 respondents sufficiently mixed and slightly exceeds the suggested sample size. Next, I used a questionnaire adapted from prior studies to align with my research objectives. It featured demographic question and English movie genres and 4-point scale items for perceived benefits. The questionnaire was designed to be straightforward and easy to complete online, maximizing participation and data quality. So, to elaborate on the research procedures, after developing and validating the questionnaire through JBI, I conducted a pilot test. With satisfactory results, a convex alpha value of 0.837, indicating that the instrument was reliable and of good quality. Then I distributed the survey to the targeted participants by Google Forms, and I collected the responses over a 2-week period. And the collected data were then compiled for analysis. The data collection was carried out entirely online by sharing the Google Forms link to accommodate the participant schedules and ensure broad participation. Okay, for data analysis, I utilized JavaBeans version 2.6.2. Descriptive analysis was used to summarize mean, standard deviation, and frequency, while inferential through one-way ANOVA helped examine the relationships between the Tesl units. Next, moving on to the most important part of my presentation, which is the data findings. For archive 1, which is about the preferred genres, the survey results indicated that science fiction was the most beneficial genre for enhancing vocabulary acquisition, with 24.1% of respondents. This genre was followed by comedy at 16.7% and animated at 13.4%. This result highlights that most feature-25 science fiction particularly rich in diverse vocabulary, likely due to its use of both everyday and technical language. The engagement and novelty of content in comedy and animated genre also contributed to effective vocabulary learning. Then moving on to Article 2, which is about perceived benefits. The descriptive analysis for section B showed an overall high mean score of 3.81 with a standard deviation indicating that participants generally agreed on the usefulness of English films for vocabulary acquisition. This suggests that films are perceived as effective tools for immersive learning and improving lexical language. Lastly, for Article 3, the relationship among Tesl units. The key findings are a one-way ANOVA was conducted to determine if there were statistically significant differences between the units. The analysis yielded an F value of 0.366 and the P value was 0.696, which is greater than the significance level of 0.05. So these results indicated that there was no significant difference between the groups, that is Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, in terms of how effective they found using movies for vocabulary acquisition. In other words, the use of movies for vocabulary acquisition perceived as equally beneficial across all training units. So moving on to the discussions for Article 1, engagement and vocabulary acquisition. The findings shows that specific genres such as science fiction and comedy provide unique and relatable vocabulary. These genres help trainees engage with language in a way that is both engaging, entertaining, and educational. For theoretical support, these findings aligns with impressions input hypothesis, which is one of my research theories that I applied in my study, which posits that language learners acquire new vocabulary more effectively when exposed to comprehensible input that is slightly above their level of proficiency. Moving on to RT2, positive learning environment. The data suggests that using movies as learning tool creates an enjoyable and engaging learning experience. This enhances vocabulary learning by providing motivation and sustained interest. Next, for real-life application, the use of movies also supports vocabulary retention by demonstrating how words are used in real-life context, thus helping trainees apply what they learn in daily communication. Sorry. For RT3, uniformity in perceptions, the annual results showed no significant difference in responses among Tesl units 1 to 23 regarding the effectiveness of using the movies for vocabulary acquisition. This suggests that the perception of movies as a beneficial learning tool is consistent across different groups of teacher trainees. Lastly, implication. The consistency in findings implies that the use of movie is universally recognized as valuable for vocabulary learning, regardless of which unit the trainees belong to. For conclusion, my research shows that English films are highly effective for vocabulary acquisition and are perceived positively by Tesl trainees. The consistency across Tesl teacher trainees highlights the potential for integrating movies into teaching practices to foster a dynamic and engaging learning environment. Moving forward, I recommend integrating a range of English films into Tesl curriculums and using subtitles to support comprehension. Additionally, I suggest incorporating movie-based activities which can increase student engagement and promote practical language use. Lastly, for implications, the implications are significant. Tesl teacher trainees benefit from improved learning experiences. Tesl lecturers can adopt enriched teaching methods, and IPT Malaysia can modernize its language programs to reflect current teaching trends. Thank you very much for your attention. I am ready to answer any questions you may have about my research.
Okay, alright. Can you go to your slide that data findings? Okay, so your overall mean, that is your overall mean, yeah? RQ2, sorry. Yep. Okay, so 3.81, because the statement that you put there, participants generally agree on the usefulness. So when you put 3.81, they should have what is the overall, mean interpretation. What is the mean interpretation? What is that? So in that value, what is the interpretation? Whether it's very high, medium,
Or it's high.
it is high. So because you're using mean, right? So when you are describing the mean, how to interpret the mean, it should be that the statement. The overall total mean shows a high level of usefulness. Okay, because it's 3.81 is high. It's one, yeah. I bet that one it would be already your thesis, right? That statement.
That is,
Yeah. I bet that the thesis written. I mean, okay. I just wonder Now, these three groups, right? They are unit Tesl 1, 2, and 3, kan? Okay, why do you choose these two to find the significant difference between the three classes? Why? Is there any difference between all these three classes? You get me or not?
Based on my data findings, there is no significant difference.
Meaning the intention is out of the meaning not based on the data. The intention of choosing using this data analysis. Why do you want to find the differences between the three
Because
classes?
I want to see if there are any different.
Okay.
If there are any like differences of the teacher trainings in Tesl 1, in Tesl 2, and Tesl 3 in using English movies to enhance their vocabulary.
Because these are Tesl students. Okay, I'm going to unless test unit 1 is PJ, unit 2 is BM, unit 3 is Tesl. You get me or not? So if you are looking at the differences between these three different people ataupun category, obviously it will be if that is intention, that is a good intention. But these are from the same sort of when I look at the slides, I can bet already there's no significant difference. Why? Because these are all, I said, unless if you're doing all these three classes, but you want to see difference between gender. That would be I don't want to know okay between gender as a student ni you get me or not? That's my understanding. Now this is for all as well. The curiosity when you become a researcher, right? So you want to check if it is or this or that. Itu maksud saya more impactful. Okay.
Even if you want to do from different batches one. You can get
Because when you get different batches, we have different maturity level. It's more impactful.
okay.
Okay, that's that for me.
This is what we clarified on your problem statement. Alright, talking about when you get this research tab and stuff here, okay, can you please clarify?
Yes, based on my findings, I would say that the general studies that I read, most of them focus more on general language barriers. So there is a lack of specific research on Tesl teacher trainings.
Okay, so that is what I want to see. I want you to put it there. Because you need to support your argument there. For example, what Farhan did, okay, he put the literature there, okay, for what year or who is the author, who is the researcher. So because if you do this, as if you are the one who is claiming this, all right? Okay, so who said this? So you have to put that. This is only the what we call that technical now, but then it's important because usually the examiner will argue who said this, where you get this, right? Okay, for example, lack of targeted studies for vocabulary acquisition in Tesl training. Where do you get this? Examiner can argue that. All right, next, you can see here at the population and sample slide. The one here, 58 Tesl teacher trainees. This is PISMP 21-25. Yes. So how many of you guys? Okay, 58 Tesl population, 54. What happened to another 3? Because 57, right? Because then 58.
It should be 58. It should be 57. You have to exclude something.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened to that another 3? Unirasa.
Take my answer, my request to answer my
Oh my god. Really?
I did change them to please answer my survey by the response.
Okay, and the pilot study, why did you use other respondents from other IBT?
Okay, for the pilot study, a different but comparable group was selected to avoid any potential influence on the main study population. So the pilot group was selected to be similar educational characteristics to my main study population. So it's the same cohort but in different campus.
Okay,
So
so
my pilot group.
Okay. about online. Okay, so good luck. Thank you so much for that.
Em có gửi cho anh chị nào? Em gửi. Thì cái này nói chung là cái này thì đâu phải là this one even present. Cái one phải cái phải là
Oh, my favorite.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation as well. Moving on, our next presenter is Masa, who will present her research on teacher training perception in enhancing speaking skills using English radio station. As well.
Okay, thank you. So, good evening to everyone. My name is Sarah binti Ismar from PISMP August 2021, Unit Tesl 3. And for this research, I am being under the guidance of Madam Siti Hasuna binti Manatib. Okay. So for my research title is Teacher Trainees Perception on Using English Radio Stations in Enhancing Speaking Skills. So this research aims to find how English radio stations can support Tesl trainees like myself in developing essential speaking skills for classroom teaching. So, firstly, the background of the study. There are three elements in the background of my study. Firstly, is importance of speaking skills. I can say that the mastery of speaking skills is essential for Tesl trainees, as effective classroom communication is key to student engagement and understanding, according to Saidalti et al. 2022. The element number two is role of English radio stations. According to Budget 2023, I can say that English radio stations offer valuable real-world language exposure that enhance pronunciation, vocabulary, and fluency, providing trainees with access to authentic spoken language. And lastly, the need for perception analysis. So in gaining insights into trainees' perception is important for optimizing radio station use in language learning. Okay, next, the problem statement of my study. Firstly, I can say that the problem is many Tesl trainees struggle to use innovative resources such as English radio station. We can say that the familiar resource like movies and games, so on. So, but this time I am enhanced on radio stations, where you can say that they struggle to use this resource to ineffectively enhancing their speaking skills. So addressing these issues, it is critical to improve teacher training and ensure trainees are well equipped to teach speaking skills in diverse multilingual classroom. And so the gap, while existing studies, the past research, there are few of past research, I can say, highlighting the benefits of audio-based learning, like podcasts, radio drama, and so on. But I can say that there are limited research exists on specific Tesl trainees' perception on English radio station use in language learning. Okay, next, my research objectives. For the research objective number 1 is to identify the teacher training perception of using radio broadcasting in enhancing speaking skills. Number 2 is to examine teacher training views on the impact of English radio station on students' speaking skills. And lastly, to determine the relationship between ESL teacher trainees, which is the Tesl 1, 2, and 3, in using radio broadcasting to enhance speaking skills. As for my research question, there are 3 research questions for my study, which is number 1, how can teacher trainees use radio broadcasting to encourage them to apply speaking skills in the classroom? Number 2, what challenges do teacher trainees face when using English radio stations to enhance their speaking skills? And number 3, are there significant differences in the perceptions of using English radio stations to enhance speaking skills among Tesl 1, Tesl 2, and Tesl 3 teacher trainees? My hypothesis for this study is that there is a relationship between ESL. I use alternative hypothesis that state there is a relationship between ESL teacher trainees, which is Tesl 1, 2, and 3, using radio broadcasting to enhance speaking skills. These studies provides insight into the effective use of English radio station for Tesl training, and it also offers practical guidance for curriculum development, enhancing trainees' speaking proficiency through authentic language exposure, as mentioned by Paul et al. 2010. And next, related past research. So, listed 3 past research that related to my study, which I can conclude that the first one from Fajri 2023 conducting a quantitative approach that conclude product podcasts were found to support independent language learning, helping learners improve fluency and vocabulary at their own pace. You can see that it also emphasizing the flexibility and effectiveness of audio-based resource. And the second one is Saidab et al. 2022 with quantitative approach that says radio drama activities improve students' pronunciation and confidence, showcasing that audio-based learning can significantly enhance speaking skills through consistent exposure to authentic language patterns. And the third research is on Suriani 2019 that pre-experimental design with pre-test and post-test approach that says structured radio broadcasting program significantly enhance student speaking achievement. Next. So, my study utilized a quantitative survey design, and I analyzed data using both descriptive statistic, which consists of mean, median, and standard deviation, to summarize gender trend, and also inferential statistics, specifically ANOVA, which is analysis of variance, identify any significant difference between the Tesl units. Next, the study population includes Tesl training from FHM campus Dato' Razan Ismail intake August 2021, July 2025, and also using purposive sampling, which I selected a sample of 52 teacher trainees covering Tesl 1, Tesl 2, and Tesl 3 to ensure comprehensive representation. My primary instrument for data collection, which was a questionnaire adapted from SciW et al. 2022, and divided into two sections. Section A, perception of teacher training, and section B, challenges and barriers. And for data collection procedure, I adapting the questionnaire and adapting online questionnaire into online questionnaire on Google Forms, securing approval from JBI for prior to data collection, and conducted a pilot study with using a combined alpha value with which the results is 0.95, indicating strong reliability for the instrument. And the next is research procedure that involved several key steps, where firstly I developed and validated the questionnaire, and next I conducted sampling and respondent selection, continue to data collection, analysis, and interpretation, and lastly, final reporting. Next is data analysis procedure. For data analysis, the descriptive analysis were used to summarize trainees' perception using mean, median, and standard deviation. And for inferential analysis, ANOVA was conducted to identify significant differences among Tesl units, and I used Jamovi 2.6.2 software to ensure accurate and reliable results. And now, the most exciting part is data findings, where I can say the finding of my RQ1 is 73% of trainees view radio as a valuable tool for enhancing pronunciation and fluency. This is proof in my section A data, where the interpretation is very high with a mean of 4.2.2. And this aligns with the, and for the second RQ, I can see that 70.5% face challenges include unfamiliar accent, content, relevance, and accessibility issues. But you can see for my section B data, the interpretation is high. Why? Because according to the mean score is according to the data as the respondent, I strongly agree on less challenges faced by them in integrating radio and improving their speaking skills. And lastly, for findings for RQ3, ANOVA results show no significant difference in perception among Tesl teacher trainees, as the P value is 0.012. So I can say that the findings lead me to reject the alternative hypothesis, as mentioned previously, as the data did not show any significant evidence that supported. And moving on to the discussion, radio content provides language exposure, helping improve pronunciation and fluency. This aligns with the research indicating that auditory media supports communicative competence by exposing learners to authentic language, according to McLaughlin et al. 2020. And for the second discussion, I can say that difficulties with accent comprehension challenges call for tailored radio content and guided listening resources to support non-native speakers So the study recommend additional resources such as guided listening and to assist learners according to a studies Ahmad and 2017 and Lee and Tan 2018. And lastly, familiarity with teaching tools improve their effectiveness in the classroom, which I can say experienced trainees are more strategic in their use of radio for teaching, showing that this discussion, according to Smith and Jones 2020 and Young 2019. Next, the conclusion. In conclusion, my research suggests that radio broadcasting is a beneficial tool for enhancing speaking skills among Tesl trainees, particularly for fluency and pronunciation. However, the challenge is like accessibility and content selections remain, and also perceptions vary slightly with experience, indicating that structured training can maximize the effectiveness in Tesl training. And for the recommendation, there are three recommendations. Firstly is in curriculum integration. So I would like to propose a recommend for include radio-based activities in Tesl programs to support authentic language practice. Like we know that we have drama subjects in our programs. So why don't we also use radio? Radio broadcasting is a new thing that we can explore because radio provide real world authentic spoken language. And next is resource development, where we can initiate on creating a digital repository with curated radio content and assessment guides. And lastly, workshops. It is the workshop for training session on how to integrate the radio broadcasting into language learning. And the implication is for, firstly, for trainees, radio exposure offers real-world language practice that improves classroom readiness, that supports fluency, confidence and engagement, and so on. Next, for lecturers, it encourages mentoring and innovative teaching methods. Finally, Tesl programs may find value in incorporating media resources to support student engagement, fluency, and confidence. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. Alright, before Madam Maki ask that, so you consulted with Madam Maki, your everything? Yes.
Okay, well done, Edina. Okay, can we like move to problem statement again? The same thing. It is provided an R as well. Okay, because this is not enough, right? Okay. Face difficulties using English radio station effectively to enhance speaking skills. Because when we talk about radio station, I just want to ask one question. Do you listen to any radio station broadcast every day yourself?
I do listen to the radio every day.
Or only during you are in the car?
Yes.
What
See,
radio station?
where I can say that I drive cars and I do take cars to move every day, so I do listen to radio.
Name the radio station.
Hits.
You
like
which one do you listen?
Mostly for
The rest of you guys can see for the.
Let us listen. Did you listen to radio? Because you're staying right. You're staying downstairs, so you obviously you're driving. But did you listen to your phone? You open your Spotify, go to the radio. Did you, or you just listen to your playlist?
sometimes.
You do. What's radio station?
Okay, so playlist.
Yeah, you get what you're saying.
Okay. Nowadays, we can say that even the radio stations have live in TikToks. So also when the others as online or open the TikToks, there are some lives for kids. I can say Yes, I do listen on things.
But the sections is also the same thing. Meaning, when you say live, it's mirroring the same thing from the radio, is it? Is it
Yes,
mirroring or
yes.
only if you?
The announcer is on duty.
I see. I didn't know.
The live is live.
Because I was concerned whether all these respondents listen to radio. You know, you have to be using the element, the actor itself, in order to get a quality feedback. You get it, right? Okay. Right.
But then I think this is just our opinion, but I'm sure you have talked about this with your SC. Okay, because what I want to say about the radio. What is good here, because you use the word perception, means that if you were to use effectiveness, then you are in trouble. Because not all of your friends here are using, I can say, they are listening to radio most of the time. You know, so because you are using effectiveness, no, you are using perception, then it is susceptible. So okay, so save you. Yeah. All right. Okay, and looking at your research question and your article.
You have to add your. This is to everyone as well.
Yeah. Okay, please look at your first article to identify the teacher training perception of using radio broadcasting in enhancing speech skills.
Yeah. What's your RQ?
RQ.
Everyone?
How can teacher trainees use radio broadcasting to encourage them to apply speech skills in classroom?
Yes, Najwa. It's not mirroring.
So what you can do or what you should do, you can like just change the okay, go back to the article just now. Okay, just change the verb.
Identify what is the teacher training perception?
What is the teacher training perception of using radio broadcasting?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. The second one, same goes to the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, to examine teacher training views, then the
On
second.
the impact, right? There's the word impact. Can you open your slide? So it shouldn't be, because challenges is a different element already.
Yeah.
It should be, what is the impact? Okay. It should be a one-to-one mirroring.
Yes. Okay. Then the hypothesis itself.
Okay, look at the RQ2. You are looking at the significant difference between the classes, just like Najwa's, right? Okay, open your hypothesis. Hypothesis should be talking only about RQ1, 2, or 3. RQ3 only. Should be.
Okay, so there is, for example, there is no significant difference in the perception of using English radio.
This one will be alternative event. It's like this, you see, people. When you change a bit the sentence structure, right, from the one that you gave, it will be a questionable thing. So to be safe, you just copy back the statement. That's it. Okay.
So as simple as just now, because when I look at your
When we look through.
yeah,
When we read what is this?
right. As simple as using respondents and participants.
Yeah.
What is respondents for and what is participants for? Okay, so respondent usually we use respondent in a quantitative research. Qualitative usually we use participants. That's why I was like, okay, this is quality or quantity. So as simple as that, right? It's not saying that it's wrong, but that usually this is like a universal tool. Okay, respondent for quantity, or participant for quantity. All right, very good. That's it. Thank you, Najwa. Sorry, thank you, Okay, all the best, huh?
All right. Thank you.
Give us.
What have you done? Oh, ni Najwa. Okay. This is, I need to find a. Ah, there, okay. I need to check my phone, it's really dying. Anyone want to switch? Anyone? Anyway, they're working really hard.
A very good evening to Mr. Atika, Mr. Hayakin, members of the floor. I'm Yoshini, daughter of Yango from Tesl, representing my research title, Investigating the Perception of Training Teachers on the Use of Tangible Visual Aids in ESL Primary Classroom. So let's take a look at the background of the study. It's divided into three concepts. Firstly, is perception of training teachers. So according to Amstroffer and Christner 2021, we are going to see how the tangible visual aid is actually going to be acknowledged, understood, and interpreted by the training teachers. And Article 2020 stated that the teacher's perception towards the tangible visual aid is very crucial because, as you can see here, the use of tangible visual aid is actually directly proportional to people's performance. Meaning, the more they use the tangible visual aid, the higher the people performance. Secondly, is tangible visual aids. They stated that it comes under the concept of visual representation, and these tangible visual aids can make the teaching and learning process real and engaging. And what is tangible visual aids? Dr. Mansur stated that it's a type of visual aid that people can touch, hold, and feel. Moving on to the ESL primary classroom, English is taught as a compulsory subject in Malaysian primary classroom, and it also emphasized as second language to enable the young learners to be bilingual, as stated by Masa, 2021. Okay, the purpose of the study is the researcher will give a clear view on perception of training teachers on the use of tangible visual aids. Basically, it's to see the effectiveness of tangible visual aids on people English learning. Okay, my research objective, RO1, is to identify the types of tangible visual aids preferred by training teachers in ESL primary classroom during practicum phase 1. RO2, to identify the benefits of using tangible visual aids as a teaching tool in ESL primary classroom. Thirdly, is to identify the relationship between the use of tangible visual aids in ESL primary classroom and the effectiveness of English learning among people based on training teachers' perception. Research questions will be RP1, what are the types of tangible visual aids preferred by training teachers in ESL primary classroom? What are the benefits of using tangible visual aids as teaching tool to enhance learning in ESL primary classroom? Thirdly, is there any relationship between the use of tangible visual aids in the ESL primary classroom and the effectiveness of English learning among people based on training teachers' perception? I'm sorry, I think I just now skipped this slide and I pressed. Sorry, moving on. Statement of the problem. Let's take a look. Firstly, is Ibrahim in 2019 stated that one challenge faced by teachers is lack of teaching and learning materials because they face difficulty to come up with tangible aid. And this led to the teachers tend to stick to only one type of tangible visual aid. And this led in redundancy and people may get bored. The second issue stated by Heller et al. 2020 that use of digital teaching is excessive in the education sector. And the significance of tangible visual is less appreciated because tangible visual is not just a tool to enhance learning. It can be a personal unique experience, also stimulate the visual senses. The third problem statement will be Pasila et al. 2019 stated that the usage of technological visual aid should be limited because it gives disadvantages. So specifically, the prolonged period of screen time can cause stiff neck pain, eye strain, and they tend to zone out easily. So, as I have stated that tangible visual aid can be a great additive. Let's go on to the significance of the research. It's directed to three categories. First is IPD training teachers and teachers in service. So this research will be a reference guide for the teachers to come up with instructional strategies to incorporate the tangible visual aids. Secondly, for IPD Tesl lecturers, this research will give them insights about the training teacher's perception. Perception is very important because it could influence the professional behavior. In a way, the Tesl lecturers can guide the training teachers on how to create and implement the tangible visual aids. Thirdly, school administrators, it can help them to get a deeper understanding on how the tangible visual aids actually impact how people's learning. So, by this time, with this understanding, they can give motivation and encouragement to the teachers to implement those tangible visual aids. Moving on to the rated past researchers, I have divided into four. Firstly is concept of tangible visual aids. For et al. 2022 stated that it is a concrete or physical learning measures to motivate people. Secondly, Ojatings 2022 stated that it's a learning resource where people can see, feel, handle, and manipulate during the lesson. Secondly, types of tangible visual aids. Later, 2023 and Vyati Marina 2024 stated that there are many types of tangible visual aids. For instance, flashcards, word cards, printed posters, printed charts, printed graphic organizers, printed pictures, paper handouts, and realia. Thirdly, teachers' perception on tangible visual aids. Dalali and Mobila 2022 stated that it motivates tangible visual aids, motivate people to participate actively in the classroom and also increase student concentration and class cooperation. And Diwati et al. 2019 stated that tangible visual aids allow the people to grasp complicated concepts easily, so this can maximize people's learning. Fourth is significance of tangible visual aids. Vyati and Marina 2021 stated that tangible visual aids grab and reinforce attention of learners, making the class lively and not monotonous. Okay. The research design that I employed is quantitative approach, specifically survey. Moving on to the research population sample, my population is 57 of IPD Tesl training teachers in June 2021-2025. The sample will be 40 of them. I use purposive sampling technique. The instruments for data collection, I used questionnaire consists of variables and microscale format. I took an example from research by Ahmed 2018. This questionnaire is divided into 4 parts. Section A, demography 5 items. Section B, types of tangible visual aids 7 types. Section C, training teachers perception 8 items, and section D, benefits 10 items. So this questionnaire is deemed reliable because the reliability has been tested using Chromebook Alpha for the 3 sections, and it's all above 0.7, which shows it's reliable, and the overall Chromebook Alpha is 0.965, which shows that this questionnaire is really reliable. So this will be a research procedure for the overall study. This is my data collection procedure. First, I find adapt the questionnaire, identify population and sample. I validate the research by Madam Bruniana. I distribute the final study. I do explain the purpose. Conduct the reliability test. One is reliable. I distributed the Google form. Received and analyzed the data in the SPSS 29.0. Data analysis procedure is I use SPSS 29.0. Descriptive analysis I conducted to answer R1, R2 using the mean score by interpreting the data using mean score interpretation scale by Molini 2009. And for inferential analysis, I did this to answer R03. I used Pearson correlation coefficient by referring to scale of Pearson correlation coefficient by Carl Pearson 1985. Let us go on to the data finding. This is the demographic data. Female is the majority. I took Tesl 1, 2, 3 in this research. Okay, data findings. For research question 1, the overall mean for types of tangible visual aids is high. So the item is the highest mean is I use paper handouts in my classroom with 4.85, and the item with the lowest mean is 3.48. I use printed charts in my classroom. And for finding, for instance, question 2, benefits of using tangible visual aids, the overall mean is 4.56, which is a very high level. The item is the highest mean is tangible visual aids provide a hands-on learning experience to the pupils and enhance their memory. Item is the lowest mean, 4.40. Using tangible visual aids initiate the people to speak and write. And moving on to research question 3, the relationship. We can see Pearson correlation information 0.606, which shows a high correlation. Moving on to the discussion for RQ1, the overall mean is high, so this shows that the training teachers actually believe and still use various types of tangible visual aids in the classroom. And is supported by Pound 29 indicated that the teacher actually frequently use tangible visual aids in the class. Secondly, for the highest mean, it shows that training teachers highly prefer to use paper handouts in their classroom because they find it very effective to the people's learning. And this is further supported by Lender. He stated that the teachers actually use paper handouts in their classroom because it enables the pupils to comprehend the lesson better. It also consistent with the finding by Quad and 2022. He stated that paper handouts allow the people to memorize new words quickly. Thirdly, the lowest mean shows that training teachers occasionally use printed charts. Basically, they do not highly prefer. And Masa 2020's findings supported my finding because it stated visual graph and charts were used in English lesson. And Rosina Sono and Rosina 2020 stated that the usage of printed chart is acknowledged more in mathematical concepts. Moving on to the benefits, the overall mean shows high 4.56. This shows that training teachers actually believe and agree that tangible visual aids provide a lot of benefits. For the highest mean, it shows that the training teachers highly believe that using tangible visual aids will stimulate people's centers able to retain information. This finding is consistent with finding by Dalali and Ambilan stated that it will stimulate people's senses, the touch and sight. And cold experiential learning theory also supported that hands-on experience will foster deeper understanding and long-term memory. And the item with the lowest mean shows that training teachers do not highly agree with the statement because people have a variety of proficiency level in English and learning style. This is aligned with the finding by Letter 2020 stated that based on multiple intelligence theory, every people have a different learning style. And some may not prefer tangible visual aids. And for them, it will not efficient for them to promote them to speak and write. The third RQ3, it can be deduced that there is a positive and strong linear relationship between the use of tangible visual aids in ESL primary classroom and the effectiveness of English learning. Therefore, the null hypothesis is rejected as the correlations approaching class 1, it is positively correlated. The R value with 2 asterisks shows that the correlation is statistically significant. And this findings is aligned with Yati and Marlena stated that 53.33 teachers had positive perception towards the use of tangible visual aids. So therefore, it can be really deduced that positive perception towards tangible visual aids provides effectiveness in English learning. Therefore, for the conclusion, for RQ1, training teachers highly believe in the usage of tangible visual aids in the classroom. For RQ2, training teachers believe there is a lot of benefits of tangible visual aids to enhance people's learning. For RQ3, the perception of training teachers is generally embrace the use of tangible visual aids. And finally, there is a positive relationship between the use of tangible visual aids and effectiveness of English learning. As for the recommendation, it's divided into 4 parts. For population, it's recommended to have a bigger population because comparison can be made between different batches, and this could occur in findings. For the location, it's not to limit the research in one institution because it allows us to collect a comprehensive set of data. Thirdly, as for the instrument, It's better to employ the most recent instrument with proven value and to have a bigger number of items as it can hit the objective accurately. And fourthly, research design is that it's great to conduct a qualitative or mixed method so that rather than statistical data, more information from interview, observation, and document analysis could be taken and analyzed word into larger meanings. Consequently, we can obtain inclusive and detailed findings. And for the implication, it's directed to 3 parties. First is for IPB Tesl training teachers. This research can foster awareness on the significance and encourage to incorporate the tangible into the lesson. In a way, it also can boost creativity to them by illuminating their mind to come up with innovative tangible ways. Secondly, IPG Tesl lecturers. This research will give them insights into training teachers' perception. So the Tesl lecturers can come up with action and encouragement like workshops or programs on ways to teach the training teachers how to create and implement the tangible techniques, and also can advocate the training teachers to put in practice the tangible techniques. And finally, for school administrators, they could take informed decisions to support the implementation of tangible. Firstly, they can allocate appropriate resources for the teachers, like color papers, flashcards, and real objects. And finally, they can consider physical classroom setup, like a dedicated space or wall displays for the tangible visual aids, so that it could be really effective in the lesson. Okay, that's all from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Rashmi. I believe me and members of the floor will agree that it's a very good presentation in terms of slides and also communication skill. Okay, because I believe that you're not reading your notes quite a lot, right? Okay. I don't think I have much to ask. Only can you go back to your instruments used for data collection? Because the Chromebook Alpha, I just have to ask this because the Chromebook Alpha value is pretty high. So did you do any recoding in your instrument, in any of your items? Like, sorry, you recode. Did you do any, negative statement in your?
No, I didn't have any.
Okay. So basically, if this is for everyone as well. So in order for you to save yourself during WIFA ataupun even for your thesis or the quality of the instruments, you should at least put 1 or 2 negative statements. For instance, can you give me one for RQ1? Can you give me one item that you remember?
I use paper hiccups.
Okay, so you record it. I did not use paper hiccups. Why do you need to record? So that you know that all your respondents, meaning the ones during the to find the Chromebook Alpha value, they are not lying. They need to simply put all 4, all 5. Yeah. They need to read one by one. So usually, because I myself used to, I kena lah back then when I did my thesis. So if it's a high Chromebook Alpha value, they want you to record it. So it is good if you have at least 1 item for each RQ. Okay, that is one. You look at your conclusions, right? Again, I don't know whether it's me. I think it's just me. Whenever that you want to conclude, all correct. But because you put it into RQ1, RQ2, go back to RQ. No, stay here. RQ2, we talk about the preferred method, right? The preferred. Oh, it's benefit. Which one is the preferred method?
The first
the first one. The highest mean is on the paper itself, right? Yeah. So at least they should get an idea of people there. In the composition in RQ1, make it to general form, meaning here related because this is the last guy. So meaning you can actually give your own opinion saying that these days there's lack of paper handouts. Am I right? They're using more. So you can propose in terms of when you do your practical, kalau boleh related to the real life that you could go for practical things like that. This is a very nice presentation. I'm suggesting more that you can put in your chapter 5. In that side of elaboration of points. Okay. Paper in terms of worksheets, notes, things like that. Yeah. Meaning here, say that you do, because you said, because these days generally they use quizzes. Still, you can print out, to make sure it's a paper handouts, because you want to promote, because you're finding here suggesting that paper handout is the most preferred one. But these days, the current one, they're using quizzes, Padlet, things like that. Okay, in your chapter 5. This is a suggestion, I'm not pointing anything. Okay, that will be from me. Thank you very much, Louis.
Okay, thank you. Well done, because I think I read your proposal quite some.
So it's under you, ke?
Yeah, I mean, no, really,
Research proposal.
yes, I've read yours quite some, I think more than 2 or 3 times. Yeah, when you actually came, right? And the thing is, I just want to ask you about the research formulation and sample. When you put that purposive sampling, what do you mean by this purposive sampling? What makes your respondents different from others? Why? Clarify that. Purposive sampling.
For purposes sampling is because I want my respondents to fulfill a certain set of criteria. Firstly, they have to go for PBS, resistance level 1 to 3. They should have went for practical phase 1, and they should be someone who actively use technical visual aids in their English writing classroom. So that's what differs this population from others.
Okay, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lucette.
Yes.
I think you guys can learn from one another, right? In terms of, right now you focus on the thesis writing, kan? So based on Dr. Losh punya dari segi, as you can see, a good presentation is good organization of points. Self-explanatory, what do you say? Self-explanatory content points, slides to fill out. Is that all? You have the last one?
Yes.
Yeah, 4%.
Unfortunately,
How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. I thought you would exactly know. So, so other people will go for the rest of you will be tomorrow lah. I see. So those yang tomorrow, they didn't come today ke?
Kalau
They
the
are.
other rooms,
Other
they
rooms.
are.
You are only from here lah. Oh, you are the only.
Ada yang nak masuk tapi kursi dapat.
So they can choose.
They can
Whichever.
choose.
I see.
Dah language lab.
Okay, give
I
me
think you guys have, all of you guys have different strengths and things that you can improve now. So that's why we can learn from each other. Okay, for example, just now I like the idea of using the SNR webinar, where you do the SNR, systematic literature review, where you can use that when you do your postgraduate. You must know which one, SNR.
No.
No. Apa kita ajar dia jual SNR will be the table. That will be SNR. That will be, yes, that will be SNR. We did that. Me personally, I did that to manage my 80 articles that I've read, at least, but not 80 lah, almost 150 articles, and I did that SNR.
You did all 150?
Yeah.
I did only 30. SNR.
Yeah.
As for PhD kan, especially for my master 30, okay lah.
Okay, but then even that, so my as you said, I've read around 400 articles. Cannot lah. I only managed around 100. That's amazing doing that. Each one, I think doing the SNR. Okay, but that's good. You can do that. It will help you manage your SNR. Okay, and regarding your presentation skills, one thing that you need to know when we ask you questions, definitely is when we want to provoke you. Yeah, you can't simply be offended, feel offended.
You offended?
You cannot.
Is there any offensive?
You can never attend your macam every time, okay, even the question will be like ridiculous question. This is like your future lah, for your future. you need to smile. Okay, thank you, doctor, for the suggestion. Or thank you, doctor, for your question. Okay, I would like to clarify that. You do it politely and when they don't feel that ataupun rasa macam you mean calm and okay and senyum and jangan tak boleh, you cannot do that. Right? So I think
We should give the representative today right now, right? So I think we can sorry? Dah asingkan. Asingkan.
Ya.
Okay, so what's the ada tu ada kat sini kan? Okay lah, let me can just give the person lah who be can be here. Okay, so congratulations to all. Tak tahu dengar. So congratulations to all four of you. You've done a very good job. Being the first during first day, right? Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking session. Okay, so the best presenter for this session, for today's first session, would be who's it, Farhan? Yes, Roshini. I can yeah. Come. I will just tell you the okay. Ini tak masuk kelas ni ke semalam ni? So protocol. Wait, sabar. I should be Tidur setengah. Baik. And this one. Okay. Kita tiga-tiga bersama-sama. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. So okay, I think that will be all. Thank you very much, everyone. Good luck for your thesis writing. Don't procrastinate. Second ada momentum ni just right? Okay. Thank you, everyone. To the PICs, everyone, you should thank your PICs and juniors for coming up. Okay,